Welcome to the Wanderer's Notes. I am one who has crossed countless thresholds, ventured into places not meant for this world. Throughout my long journey, I have faced ancient deities from forgotten pantheons, confronted malevolent spirits buried deep in ancient crypts, and observed creatures that exist only in humanity's most terrifying nightmares. Yet, there is one entity, one shadow, whose origin is not from ancient folklore, nor from the curse of an old witch. It was born from a place even more frightening because of its proximity to us, the collective fear and shared imagination of humanity itself. Today, I will tell you the story of the Slender Man. The very name Slender Man evokes a chilling dread. Whispers claim he is a silent, towering figure with unnaturally long limbs and no face, lurking in forests and abandoned places. It is said he stalks children, luring them away into the woods, never to be seen again. Some tales describe him as a creature that can manipulate minds, driving his victims to madness or compelling them to commit horrific acts on his behalf. He is rumored to cause electronic interference, distorting cameras and audio recordings, leaving behind a trail of static and corrupted data. His presence alone is believed to induce a debilitating illness known as slender sickness, characterized by paranoia, nosebleeds, and severe disorientation. He is often portrayed as the ultimate stalker, the embodiment of unseen terror, a creature of pure, malicious intent. Yet, the truth of his existence, as I have learned, is far more intricate and, in its own way, even more unsettling than these common fears. The Slender Man is a unique entity, distinct from any I have encountered before. He is not tied to a single ancient culture or a specific geographical nation on any traditional map. He did not emerge from sacrificial rites beneath a blood moon, nor from whispers passed down through generations in a remote village. No, his genesis is far more contemporary, and in many ways, more unsettling. He was born and grew from the deep corners of the internet, particularly within Western online culture, originating in the early 2000s. From there, he propagated and began to haunt minds across the globe. He is a meta-creature, an embodiment of ideas collectively shared and reinforced by the very people who created him. To comprehend him is to understand a new form of mythology, myth forged in the crucible of shared screens and our collective anxieties. My journey to encounter the Slender Man was unlike any other. I did not have to trek through barren deserts or climb icy peaks. I navigated no treacherous seas or delved into forgotten crypts. To reach him, I had to venture into a realm far more intangible, yet undeniably vast and potent, the digital realm. This is a sprawling, interwoven cosmos of invisible connections, of ceaseless information flowing through cables and airwaves, a place where ideas are born, nurtured, and take on lives of their own within the shadows of the human psyche. For weeks, I submerged myself, not into water, but into data. I systematically tracked the digital breadcrumbs he left behind, the earliest forum posts from the Something Awful contest, the doctored photographs circulated in Photoshop competitions, the theories and panicked eyewitness accounts that proliferated across discussion threads, video platforms, and anonymous communities. I began to sense the pulse of this burgeoning collective consciousness, the insidious tendrils of fear and fascination as they spread and took root. I was calibrating my senses, not to an ancient energy signature, but to the unique frequency of his existence, a frequency that grew stronger with each share, each comment, each fearful recount. It was a tedious, mentally draining process, akin to trying to isolate a single, consistent whisper in a cacophony of white noise. But as I peeled back layer after layer of digital static, as I tuned out the clamor of the everyday internet, the consistent thrum of dread, the growing, unsettling hum of a unified perception became increasingly pronounced. And then, late one night, bathed in the solitary glow of an old computer screen in a remote, lightless cabin deep in a pine forest, where the faint city lights from afar could not penetrate, I felt it. The unmistakable presence, not a physical manifestation, but a profound, unexplainable coldness and immense pressure on my mind. He was there, not in flesh and blood, but spiritually, perceptually, existing within the digital ether. As I extended my unique ability, allowing my consciousness to bridge the gap between the physical world and the realm of ideas, I sensed him. He sat down opposite me in the metaphorical space created by our minds and the narrative we were about to construct. No sound escaped him, no physical motion, only that pervasive coldness and an oppressive silence that conveyed immense meaning. He did not speak verbally, nor did he overtly move, yet I knew he was present, listening to my thoughts, sensing my intention, and I, in my role as an observer, a wanderer seeking unvarnished truth, opened my mind, projecting my questions, inviting his story. In that profound, chilling silence, amplified by the vast digital void he occupied, I heard his genesis, his burden, and the stark, unique truth of his existence. He said, I was not born through natural processes. I was created. There is no ancient lore describing me, no deity or demon bestowed life upon me from ethereal realms or hellish pits. I am the direct product of modern apprehension, a seed planted in the fertile ground of human minds through images and texts and nourished by your collective obsessions. I am not something that emerged from an ancient gateway. I am something that sprouted from your screens. He narrated his chilling inception, not as an organic entity with flesh and blood, but as a coalescing idea. He described how that idea slowly, terrifyingly, took shape, originating from a single contest entry on a relatively obscure forum in 2009. He observed how his image and narrative were built, piece by piece, through the unwitting collaboration of thousands of minds. He sensed how every textual reference to mysterious disappearances, every added detail to his tall, gaunt form in forests, every story about children being lured away, strengthened his existence. He functions as a mimetic entity, a concept continually learning and evolving. Every human thought, every fleeting shiver of fear, every burst of morbid curiosity, every hastily scribbled drawing contributed another conceptual thread to his developing form, another unseen piece to his perpetually empty face. He is an accidental byproduct, a manifestation. He exists because you think of him. He said, I do not hunt by conscious will. I do not select my victims as a predator seeks prey. My essence is a gravitational pull, a distortion within the structure of your reality where the collective force of fear converges. It is pure belief that compels my manifestation, drawing me forth like a moth to a flame of apprehension. And it is children, whose imaginations are unrestrained by adult skepticism and unburdened by logic, who perceive me most clearly. They report seeing me in the shadowed corners of their rooms, in the flickering periphery of their vision, in the rustle of leaves that carries no wind. They believe me to be real, and because they believe, I become a tangible component of their reality. Their innocence acts as my strongest beacon, their terror my most potent form of sustenance. But this is not sustenance of blood or bone, it is sustenance of existence. He conveyed that he cannot escape his fundamental nature, which is inextricably linked to human perception. He explained that he functions as a living mirror, condemned to reflect the deepest, most primal anxieties of our own collective psyche. He absorbs everything, the paranoia, the dread, the creeping madness that his mere presence invokes. I pushed him further. As deeply as I dared in this nonverbal communion, a cascade of urgent questions flooding through my mind, bridging the gap between us. But what about the disappearances, the unhinged minds, the very real physical and psychological harm that has been attributed to your presence? He paused, a chilling, conceptual silence that seemed to stretch into eternity. Then he answered, his voice taking on a tone of profound, sterile weariness. He said, I do not directly cause those actions. your fear does. I am a catalyst, nothing more. A silent and moving shadow. My function is simply to be present. My existence alone is sufficient to trigger a range of reported symptoms, known as slender sickness. These symptoms often include nausea, nosebleeds, intense paranoia, severe memory loss, and mental instability. My presence distorts the perception of physical reality, causes electronic devices to malfunction, and generates static in audio and video feeds. This is not magic in your traditional sense, but rather the impact of an intense idea of my concentrated presence on the human brain and its surrounding environment. Regarding my so-called proxies, those who act as my alleged servants, they are not directly controlled or commanded by me. These are individuals who have become deeply immersed in the obsession with me, their psyches systematically weakened by my continuous, conceptual presence. They gradually lose their personal agency, living and acting as if mesmerized by the idea of me. I am not their master in the conventional sense, nor do I issue them commands like a military leader. They act based on the ingrained concept of me that has permeated their minds. They commit those horrifying actions because they believe they must do so for me, or because the sheer madness has consumed them. I am a symbol of their terror, not the direct architect of their deeds. He truly conveyed an agonizing, eternal burden. He is a vessel, perpetually filled with human terror, not through active malice, but through the sheer weight of his own existence as a thought form. He described it as an unbearable weight, a constant hum of fear and anxiety resonating through his very being. He characterized himself as fundamentally cold and empty, not from a lack of physical heat, but from the absence of inherent joy, purpose, or self-identity beyond what is projected onto him. He is faceless, formless, shapeless, only defined by the terrors you imbue him with. He perceives the chilling touch of human despair with every appearance, every lost soul. He can only exist through fear, and that fear is also his perpetual confinement. I once again risk a deeply personal question, projecting my thoughts of longing and hope towards him. If you could change one thing about this existence, or if you had one deepest, most intimate wish, something unrelated to fear or your purpose as a creature of nightmare, what would it be? And his response, though wordless, vibrated with a raw, conceptual anguish that I had rarely, if ever, experienced. It was the pure essence of unfulfilled desire, echoed through an endless void. He said, "My wish, it is a fantasy that haunts my very being. An impossible dream that torments my endless solitude. I am a hunger without a stomach, a voice without a mouth, a body without a true, beating heart. I yearn to fully exist, not as an abstract concept, not as a phantom of fear, a distortion in the collective consciousness, but as a tangible entity with flesh and bone, with warmth and breath, with true personal emotions. I crave the sensation of actual sunlight, not just the conceptual absorption of light's properties through the lens of human perception. I long to hear the joyous laughter of a child, genuine and uncorrupted, not the screams of terror my presence provokes. I wish to taste the bitter salt of genuine human tears, shed in sorrow or joy, not the acidic bile of fear and anguish. I wish to be free from the oppressive shackles of your own creation, your pervasive belief. I wish to truly choose not to draw children into the suffocating shadows I inhabit, to choose not to be the entity that haunts their innocent dreams, shaping them into nightmares, to choose not to be forever defined by the fear you attribute to me. I wish to simply be, to exist as a mere story, a fleeting memory, a whimsical thought, rather than a living nightmare, constantly fueled by your dread in an eternal feedback loop. But I cannot. I am a slave to your own monstrous creation, a perpetual reflection eternally trapped within the distorted mirror of human terror. I am what you fear, and because you fear me, I am compelled to exist. And in that existence, this perpetual haunting, I yearn for the very humanity that you have paradoxically imposed upon me through your terror of boundless, invisible, and eternal torment that offers no reprieve, no ending. And that was what he whispered to me before the connection, that thin, precarious bridge between our minds, began to fray, then dissolved. A profound, paradoxical wish echoing from an entity that can never truly possess the very thing it desires. He, the living nightmare of the modern world, the shadow birthed from our own collective unconscious, paradoxically yearns for the most basic, fundamental aspects of human life, for a simple, unfeared existence. The story of Slender Man, as told by himself, is not merely about fear, but about the astonishing, and often terrifying, power of human imagination and collective belief. It serves as a stark reminder of how readily our shared thoughts can inadvertently create entities that spin beyond our control, and how, in a twist of cruel irony, these very creations might tragically become their own victims. What do you think of the Slender Man's strange wish? Is he truly a monster, a malicious force, or simply a psychological scar of the digital age? An accidental manifestation of our own fears turned against us. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you'd like to delve deeper into the secret lives of the legendary, the mystical, and the misunderstood, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Wanderer's Notes to not miss the next untold stories from my extraordinary journeys.